My name is Lila Kensington. I am 28 years old, and today is the day my grandfather, Henry Whitaker, everyone called him Hank, was buried for the second time. This time with words and papers.
We were sitting in a glass-enclosed conference room on the top floor of a law firm building in Midtown Manhattan. November sunlight streamed through the large windows, reflecting off the polished walnut table so brightly that I could clearly see my own face in it. Dark circles under my eyes from the red-eye flight from Austin, hair hastily tied in a ponytail, gray cashmere sweater, the only thing I managed to grab from my suitcase before rushing to the airport. Across from me was Nova, my sister, 25 years old, wearing a camel-colored athletic wool dress from Reformation, knee-high Laura Piana boots, and her mini Lady Dior bag placed neatly beside her, like a statement. Nova was scrolling through her phone, her gel-polished fingers swiping the screen non-stop to check notifications. Every time a new like appeared on the story she had just posted, a black and white artistic photo of Grandpa's casket with the caption, "Forever in our hearts." The corner of Nova's mouth curved up slightly. My father, Richard Kensington, everyone called him Rick, was sitting at the head of the table in a charcoal Tom Ford suit, Hermes tie knotted perfectly. He was smiling, the proud smile I had seen hundreds of times whenever Nova hit a new milestone, her first 1,000,000 followers, the Estee Lauder contract, or simply a viral photo on TikTok. My mother, Victoria, Vicky to her country club friends, was wearing a cream Chanel tweed skirt suit, a 3-strand pearl necklace around her neck, hands clasped tightly in front of her chest, as if trying to contain the joy about to burst out. The family lawyer, Mr. David Langford, who had managed Grandpa's assets since before I was born, was reading the main part of the will in his even professional tone. He mentioned the small portions for charities, then the cash bequests for old employees from the chain of hardware stores Grandpa once owned across Connecticut and Massachusetts. Everything was going as expected, until Mr. Langford paused, adjusted his glasses, and looked toward Nova. "And to my granddaughter, Nova Rose Kensington," he read, his voice rising slightly with excitement, "I leave $15 million in the form of cash and blue-chip stocks held in a separate trust." The room suddenly felt warmer. Everyone, some aunts and uncles, associate lawyers, secretaries, applauded in unison. My father stood to hug Nova. My mother kissed her cheek, tears glistening but not smudging her mascara. Nova smiled radiantly, tilting her head at the perfect camera angle, whispering to Mom, "This is such a perfect Instagram moment." I heard every word. She had already planned what to post tonight, probably a carousel of black and white photos with an emotional caption about legacy and family. Then Mr. Langford turned to me. No smile, no thick envelope, nothing at all. "To my second granddaughter, Lila Marie Kensington." He paused, as if searching for the gentlest words possible. "Henry left no separate assets. He noted that Lila has chosen her own path and is capable of financial independence." Silence fell like a heavy curtain. I felt blood rush to my ears. My father sighed. The familiar sigh he used whenever I announced I wasn't coming home for Thanksgiving because of a project deadline. My mother looked at me, her eyes a mix of pity and reproach. "Grandpa was very disappointed, Lila," Mom said, softly, but loud enough for the whole room to hear. "You chose that programming career all the way in Texas instead of coming home to help the family. He made it clear to us that he didn't want to encourage that lifestyle." Nova looked at me across the table, her eyes flashing a brief moment of guilt, only a second before quickly turning to pity. She placed her hand on Mom's shoulder as if to comfort her. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat there, hands clenched under the table so tightly that my nails dug into my palms. In my mind, I saw Grandpa Hank sitting on the old rocking chair on the porch in Woodstock, Connecticut, wearing his faded Red Sox cap, grinning ear to ear when I showed him the first dashboard I coded at 15 that helped his hardware store reduce inventory by 12%.
He had patted my shoulder and said, "You see things the rest of the world misses, Lila Bean. Never let anyone tell you that's not important."
I was trying to hold on to that image to keep from falling apart when Mr. Jonathan Hale, Grandpa's personal lawyer, someone my family barely knew, stood up from the corner of the room. He was old, with snow-white hair, a perfectly tailored gray suit, but there was something very different about him. Not the polished social courtesy of the Scarsdale upper class I grew up in. He placed a thick envelope, sealed with red wax, on the table, with a soft thud that was enough to silence the entire room.
"I'm sorry to interrupt," Mr. Hale said, his voice deep and steady. But Mr. Henry Whitaker gave very clear instructions that there is a separate codicil, a will amendment, that is only to be opened and read aloud when the entire immediate family is present. Especially, he looked directly at me, his eyes warm and resolute, when granddaughter Lila Kensington is present.
My mother stiffened. My father frowned. Nova stopped scrolling her phone.
"What codicil?" my mother asked, her voice sharp and high-pitched. "We've already seen the entire will."
Mr. Hale didn't answer Mom. He just looked at me, as if waiting for my nod. I nodded slightly. My heart was pounding so hard I was afraid everyone could hear it. Mr. Hale broke the red wax seal. The sound of paper tearing echoed in the silent room like a gunshot.
And then he began to read.
Mr. Hale was in no hurry. He spread the thick pages out on the table, Grandpa Hank's shaky but clear handwriting appearing under the cold white LED lights. All eyes were on him, but Mr. Hale only looked at me, as if handing back a piece of Grandpa's soul directly to my hands. My father, Rick, cleared his throat, trying to regain control of the atmosphere. "Mr. Hale, there must be some mistake," Dad said, his forced laugh ringing in the room, the kind of laugh he used at Wall Street meetings when a deal was about to fall apart. "Grandpa signed the official will with Mr. Langford. This codicil, perhaps it was when he wasn't lucid. We all know he was forgetful toward the end. Parkinson's made his hand shake, memory poor. No need to read it, right?" My mother, Vicky, nodded frantically, clutching her pearl necklace until her knuckles turned white. "That's right, Jonathan. Hank loved Nova the most. He even told her she was the star of the family. Lila, well, he was disappointed that she left Scarsdale for Austin to chase that code stuff. Why bother reading it?" Nova stopped scrolling TikTok, looking up with a half smile, but I saw her eyes flash with satisfaction. $15 million was a huge number, enough for her to buy a penthouse in Miami, sign long-term ambassador deals with Sephora, and live like a real influencer without worrying about sponsors dropping. Mr. Hale didn't smile. He pushed his glasses up the bridge of his nose, his voice calm but sharp as a surgical blade. Mr. Henry Whitaker gave clear instructions in writing and confirmed by video with medical certification from his personal physician, Dr. Eleanor Grant at Mount Sinai, that he was fully competent when signing this codicil 18 months ago. This is not my personal opinion, but his final wish, and it begins like this. He cleared his throat and began reading, slowly, emphasizing each word like reading the Declaration of Independence. "To my granddaughter, Lila Marie Kensington, I leave full controlling interest in HarborEdge Analytics, the company I have quietly built and invested in over the past 4 years, as well as all associated personal investment accounts, held completely separate from my joint accounts with my son, Richard. This is not a joke or an old man's hobby. HarborEdge is a real AI platform designed to help small retailers, hardware stores like the ones I had in Connecticut, family bakeries in Maine, farm stands in Vermont, manage inventory, accurately forecast demand based on weather, seasons, local trends, and reduce waste by up to 30%. The company already has contracts with 47 beta partners, stable quarterly revenue of $1.2 million, and is expanding into automated supply chains. The conference room felt like it exploded. No, not applause, but a time bomb. I felt my heart stop for a beat, then pound like a drum. HarborEdge. That was the name Grandpa whispered to me 3 years ago during my last visit to Woodstock, when he pulled me into the dusty old garage filled with toolboxes. Lila Bean, I'm building something big. Not for the big shots in Silicon Valley, but for guys like me back in the day. Hardware store owners holding on through snowy winters, knowing exactly when to order more tires or waterproof paint before a storm. I thought he was joking, or it was just a vague idea from our afternoon's coding on the old laptop. But it turned out he had hired a dev team in Austin, young coders from UT Austin, not expensive Ivy Leaguers, invested from his separate savings, avoiding the joint account my parents managed.
Mr. Hale continued reading, his voice unwavering. The current value of HarborEdge, according to an independent valuation report from Deloitte, exceeds $50 million, with 200% annual growth. The linked investment accounts, tech stocks focused on small business tools, not meme stocks, add another $12 million. All of it to Lila, because she is the only one who understands this mission. Help the little guys, the family businesses in America slowly dying because of Walmart and Amazon. Nova was the first to react. Her face went pale as the paper on the table, her mini Dior bag slipping from her hand and thudding to the floor. What? HarborEdge? That's a real company? Not just Grandpa talking nonsense with you? Nova's voice broke, not crying, but screaming, a high-pitched, piercing scream that echoed through the soundproof glass of the conference room. Mom, Dad, he's crazy. My $15 million, now what? She gets hundreds of millions? I filmed videos with him. I posted stories every week. People liked like crazy. I was the one who took care of him.
My mother sprang up like a spring, her chair rolling back with a scrape on the marble floor. He's senile. Mr. Hale, you know it. Hank toward the end couldn't even remember his own son's name sometimes. Parkinson, medication. He thought Lila was some coding genius or something. We took care of him every day. Vicky brought homemade soup, Rick handled medical bills, and Lila, she's in Texas, coding. Didn't bother coming home for Thanksgiving last year because of project deadline. You were tricked. Mom screamed, her voice cracking with anger mixed with panic, tears rolling down and smudging her Chanel lipstick.
My father stopped smiling. He sat motionless, face flushed red, hands gripping his phone like he wanted to snap it. Jonathan, stop. This is a sick joke. Grandpa knew nothing about AI. He barely used a smartphone. How could he build a startup in Austin? Lila must have planted the idea in his head, tricked him into signing something when he was weak.
Mr. Langford, the family lawyer, interjected, voice stuttering. I didn't know about this codicil. Mr. Whitaker kept it separate with Hale.
Mr. Hale looked up, eyes scanning the room. Mr. Henry was very clever. He kept HarborEdge secret, registered under his name only, no link to the joint account, to avoid misuse. He hired me in 2019 after suspecting large transfers from the joint account. Nova's Dubai trips, Rick's Porsche, Vicky's $20K TikTok ring light setup. He has the bank reports here. He tapped the stack of papers lightly, and I saw Mom take a step back, face ashen.
No! Her voice shrill, overpowering Mom's. No! That's mine! He promised me a penthouse! Lila, you're a nerd. You just code alone in a dark room. Why you? I'm the influencer. I made him famous on Insta. She lunged toward the table, trying to grab the paper from Mr. Hale's hand, but he dodged smoothly. Nova's scream, a primal sound, full of desperation and jealousy, echoed, making the secretary outside peek in.
I sat still, tears rolling down, but I didn't wipe them. Not from joy, but from pain. Grandpa had seen me. Seen the nights I stayed up in Austin, coding inventory forecast models based on NOAA weather data, helping a hardware store in Waco avoid a $50K loss during storm season. He had turned our dream into reality,
and now it was slamming into the faces of the people who had erased me from his life.
The conference room sank into chaos, but Mr. Hale raised his hand, his voice cutting through. This is only the beginning. The codicil is long.
And he continued reading. Mr. Hale didn't stop, despite Nova's screams still echoing. He turned to the next page, the thick papers rustling under his fingers, and his voice continued, steady, emotionless, but each word like a knife cutting the air in the conference room. I am fully aware that my son Richard Kensington and daughter-in-law Victoria have deliberately prevented my granddaughter Lila from seeing me in my final years. They canceled visits at the last minute, told me Lila was too busy with work in Texas, that she didn't want to come home because she was no longer attached to the family. They told Lila I was too tired, too weak, or in a nursing home with no visitors allowed. I do not believe that. I have seen Lila's messages disappear from my phone. I have called and been redirected straight to voicemail. I have watched them push Nova in front of me with cameras, bright smiles, and #GrandpaGoals hashtags, while telling me Lila was ashamed of this small-town family and didn't want to contact an old man nearing death.
My mother froze as if iced. Her hand released the pearl necklace, the pearls rolling across the wooden table. My father opened his mouth to say something, but only a gasp came out. Nova slumped into her chair, eyes red, but this time not from anger, from fear.
Mr. Hale continued, his voice no louder, but each word slamming into the glass walls. I have also noticed large transfers from the joint account in my and Richard's name. Hundreds of thousands of dollars flowing into Richard and Victoria's personal credit cards, used to fund Nova's Maldives trip for her bikini #ad campaign, buy Rick's new Porsche Cayenne to save face at the country club, install a TikTok studio with 20-inch newer ring lights and seamless backdrop paper worth $18,000 for Nova's Get Ready With We videos. These were never discussed with me. When I asked, I was told I had already approved them, that I had forgotten, that my memory was poor because of Parkinson's. I may be old, but I am not stupid.
The last sentence, I may be old, but I am not stupid, Mr. Hale read, with a slight emphasis, as if Grandpa was sitting right here, looking straight into his son's eyes. The whole room went dead silent. I heard the wall clock's second hand ticking, loud as a hammer.
And then everything inside me shattered.
I remembered. It all flooded back like an old film fast-forwarded.
Thanksgiving 2022. I had bought round-trip tickets Austin-LaGuardia 2 months in advance. Sent a message in the family group. I'll come home for the holiday with Grandpa. It's been too long. Mom replied immediately. He's very tired, honey. Doctor says avoid crowds, afraid of flu. Maybe another time. I still flew back. I stood at the Scarsdale gate at 4 p.m., suitcase wheels clacking on the stone path. Mom came out, wearing a new cashmere sweater, faint scent of Creed Aventus. She looked at me, then at the street as if afraid neighbors would see. Lila, I told you. He's sleeping, doesn't want visitors. Go to a hotel. We'll figure it out tomorrow. Through the living room window, I saw Nova filming a TikTok dance trend with friends, music blaring. I turned away, dragged my suitcase to Uber, tears falling the whole ride, while the driver asked, "You okay, miss?"
Christmas 2023. I FaceTimed Grandpa from my tiny studio in East Austin. He smiled crooked from Parkinson's, but his eyes were still bright. Lila Bean, I miss you terribly. Why don't you come home? I told him about the new inventory forecast model using machine learning from weather data. He nodded, asking details like a real investor. The call suddenly cut. Mom texted right after. He's too tired. Doctor says rest. Don't call anymore or he'll get emotional. I didn't know Mom had grabbed the phone from him and hung up. Summer 2024. I booked a sudden flight because Grandpa was hospitalized. Dad texted, "He's fine now, just routine check. Don't come and worry him. Plus, Nova's filming her Summer with Grandpa series for the channel, needs private space." I still flew back. Standing at the Woodstock door, I saw Nova vlogging.
Grandpa on the rocking chair, forced smile for the lens, Nova hugging his shoulder, caption ready, cherishing every moment with my favorite person. I rang the bell. Mom came out, face pale. "Lila, what are you doing here? He just fell asleep, doesn't want visitors. Go." I heard Grandpa's weak voice from inside. "Who's there, Vicky?" Mom slammed the door. Now sitting here, hearing Mr. Hale read every word Grandpa wrote, I finally understood. He knew everything. He saw everything. He painfully watched me being pushed out of his life little by little, with sweet lies and Maldives trips funded by his own money. I looked up at Mom. She was trembling, lips pressed tight, eyes red, but not crying. She wouldn't allow herself to cry in front of strangers. My father hung his head, hands clenched into fists on the table. Nova was different. She sobbed, mascara streaked, not from losing money, but from being exposed. I just did what Mom told me," she whispered, voice breaking. "Mom said Grandpa liked filming videos, said he wanted Nova by his side, said Lila didn't care." Mr. Hale turned to a new page, his voice still calm. Mr. Henry also noted that he had stored all deleted emails, blocked messages, and detailed bank statements. If contested, he authorized me to release everything, including a video he recorded himself while fully competent. My mother finally broke down crying, but not heartfelt sobs, angry, desperate sobs. He betrayed this family," she screamed, voice shattering. "We cared for him every meal, every pill. And Lila? She left for Texas, didn't even call. He chose her just because she knows how to code useless things." My father stood, voice shaking. "Jonathan, stop! We can talk privately. This is family business." But Mr. Hale didn't stop. He looked straight into Dad's eyes. Mr. Henry anticipated this reaction. He said very clearly, if they contest, show them the video, and remind them I am not stupid. I sat there, tears rolling, but I didn't wipe them. Not from pain, but because finally, Grandpa had spoken for me. He had seen me erased from the perfect family picture they built for Instagram. He had kept this secret, nurtured it in the dark, just for the day it would explode when everyone was present, especially me. Mr. Hale set the paper down looking at me. The rest is the video and additional evidence. Mr. Henry wanted Lila to hear it all, in front of everyone. And I nodded. I was ready to hear more. My mother sprang up, her chair rolling back and crashing into the glass wall with a dry thud. Her face flushed red, veins bulging on her forehead, eyes wild with anger and panic. "Paranoid? He was severely paranoid," she screamed, her shrill voice overpowering the faint hum of the air conditioning. Hank, toward the end, thought everyone wanted to harm him. We cared for him, every pill, every meal. And Lila? She left home for Austin, didn't call, didn't come back. He wrote this stuff only because Lila stuffed it into his head when he was weakest. My father, Rick, stood too, but slower, trying to maintain the calm of a Wall Street CFO. He raised his hand as if presenting to the board. "Jonathan, we all know late-stage Parkinson's causes paranoia. Grandpa often suspected money was stolen, said we changed bank passwords. It's a symptom, not reality. We can request a mental competency review of the official will." Nova was different. She wasn't screaming anymore, but crying, sobbing, tears making black streaks down her cheeks. She clung to Mom's arm, voice trembling, sounding both pitiful and calculated. I took care of him. I filmed videos every week, posted #GrandpaAndMe stories. People commented how cute he was. I sat with him for hours, listened to his old stories, took him for park walks. And Lila, she just sent emails about soulless code. Why her everything? I was the one by his side. I had been silent until now, but I couldn't anymore. Something inside me broke. Not anger, but a deep exhaustion, accompanied by a strength I never knew I had. I looked up, straight into Mom's eyes, then Dad's, then Nova's. My voice wasn't loud, but clear, cold, and for the first time in my life, steady.
Mom says Grandpa was paranoid? Then why didn't you let me see him even when I was standing right at the Woodstock door last summer? I asked, evenly. I flew from Austin, stood on the porch at 3 p.m., suitcase still with airport tags. Mom came out wearing a new tennis dress, said, "He's sleeping, doesn't want visitors, go or he'll get more tired." I clearly heard Grandpa ask from the living room, "Who's there, Vicky?" Mom slammed the door. I stood there 20 minutes, called, and Mom hung up. I took Uber to the hotel, cried the whole way.
Mom opened her mouth to speak, but I continued, not letting her interrupt.
Or Thanksgiving 2022? I messaged the family group 2 months ahead, said I'd come for the holiday with Grandpa. Mom replied, "He's very weak, Doctor bans visitors." I still flew back. Mom met me at the gate, said he was in a nursing home, no visitors allowed. I checked later. He was home all week, and Nova filmed him carving pumpkins with caption, "Family Traditions." I stood outside the Scarsdale gate, saw through the window the Christmas tree already up, but no one opened for me.
Nova sobbed louder. "Don't make up stories. You were busy with work."
I turned to my sister. "Nova, you know I wasn't busy. I took leave, booked tickets, but every time I came, Mom found a way to send me away. And you got to stay, film videos, post stories, get sponsors from family values brands, and that money, Maldives trips, ring light studio, was from Grandpa's joint account."
My father interjected, voice lowering. "Lila, enough. This isn't the place to accuse family." But I didn't stop. I couldn't. And then, like a dam breaking, childhood memories flooded back, pulling me to the big house in Scarsdale. The house with perfect lawn, white fence, saltwater pool, and 2 sisters growing up in completely different worlds. I clearly remember Saturday afternoons at Scarsdale High. Nova was varsity cheerleader in green-red uniform, hair high ponytail, leading the crowd cheers at football games. Parents sat in VIP stands, holding Go Nova signs, filming slow motion for Instagram. Every win, Nova posed with the quarterback, #homecomingqueen. Mom bought her new pom-poms, sequin dresses for dance team, Orlando trips for national cheer competitions. Dad funded 2-inch newer ring lights, softboxes, backdrops, so Nova could film day in my life from age 16. Followers skyrocketed, small brands sent gifts, then bigger, Glossier, Summer Fridays, away luggage. And me? I sat in the library corner after school, coding on an old MacBook Air, building my first app to track classes and deadlines. I joined robotics club, regional hackathons. When I came home, showing second place in Westchester STEM contest, a dashboard helping local stores forecast inventory, Mom glanced. "Nice, honey, but why not try cheer like Nova? You need to socialize more, or you'll end up marrying your computer." Dad patted my shoulder. "Good job. But realistically, Nova has the bright future. She knows how to present herself. Presence matters these days." Money was always maybe later. I asked parents to fund MIT's summer coding camp, $4,000. Mom said, "Too expensive, next year. Plus, Nova needs money for dance nationals in Vegas." I babysat, washed neighbors' cars to pay bus fare to public library camps. The only one who saw me was Grandpa Hank. He from Woodstock, Connecticut, where he owned 3 small hardware stores, Hank's Home Supply, selling nails, paint, lawnmowers to locals. He didn't understand code, but he understood how small businesses slowly died, unable to keep up with Amazon. One summer afternoon when I was 15, he drove his old Ford F-150 pickup to Scarsdale, bringing a beat-up Dell Latitude laptop bought from a closing office supply store. Scratched case, dusty keyboard, but he placed it on the kitchen table like treasure. "They say this machine is slow, ugly," he winked, "but I say it's just waiting for the right person to tell its story. Now it'll help you write yours." Mom frowned. "Dad, don't encourage more screen time." But Grandpa ignored, pulled a chair to sit with me every weekend he visited.
He brought books, Python for beginners, data analytics for small business, even Excel for dummies he found hilarious. He knew nothing about loops or arrays, but sat reading chapters aloud, then asked, "Tell me in plain English, does this help a store owner like me know when to order more nails before building season?" I explained. He nodded, eyes lighting up. I coded a simple spreadsheet helping his store reduce winter inventory 15%. He printed it, taped it behind the register, bragged to customers. "My granddaughter made this, smarter than I ever was."
When I was 17, I secretly entered a regional hackathon with a dashboard forecasting sales based on weather and holidays. Parents promised to come, but texted, "Traffic terrible. Sorry, honey." I stood on stage, accepting third place, in a too-big thrift store blazer. Only Grandpa Hank, in old plaid flannel, Red Sox cap, standing below, cheering loudest. He hugged me so tight I could barely breathe, whispered, "You just built something truly useful, Lila Bean. If you help one store, you can help 100. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise."
Now, sitting in the Manhattan conference room, I realized Grandpa kept his word. He built HarborEdge from those afternoons, secretly, patiently, to protect it from his own family. I looked at Mom, Dad, Nova. Grandpa wasn't paranoid. He was just the only one who saw me.
Mr. Hale set the codicil stack down, the motion slow but meaningful. He pulled a small silver USB from his black leather briefcase, then plugged it into the slim laptop the assistant had prepared. The large wall screen lit up, HarborEdge logo flashing briefly, a simple icon, wrench combined with line chart, before switching to a still image of an older man sitting in this very room about 2 years ago.
I recognized Grandpa immediately. Hank looked much older than my last visit, thinner, wrinkled skin, nearly all white hair. Parkinson's made his hands tremble slightly, but his eyes were sharp, still the blue-gray eyes I remembered, eyes that lit up whenever I explained a new algorithm. He wore a light blue button-down shirt, collar buttoned neatly, hands on the table like in a shareholder meeting. Behind him was a younger Mr. Hale, off-frame, only his voice from the speakers.
"All right, Hank," Mr. Hale's off-camera voice said, gentle but professional. "Just speak in your own words. Why are you here today?"
Grandpa took a deep breath, looking straight into the lens, straight at us now, though he had passed 3 months ago. His voice hoarse but firm, no tremble.
My name is Henry Whitaker. I am 69 years old, and I am fully competent. I have certification from Dr. Eleanor Grant at Mount Sinai confirming my mental capacity to amend my will. I am doing this because I realized my son Richard and daughter-in-law Victoria have used my trust in ways I did not approve. Mom stiffened, hands gripping the chair arms. Dad looked down, but I saw his neck flush red. Nova stopped crying, eyes glued to the screen like hypnotized. Grandpa continued, slow but sharp. I saw money leave the joint account without my approval. Thousands for Nova's Maldives trip to film sponsored content. Tens of thousands for new cars, video studio, designer clothes to build personal brand. When I asked, I was told I forgot, that I signed, that I was confused. I am not confused. I am just old.
He paused, sipped water from the glass on the table. I heard the real room's clock ticking, loud as a hammer.
I love both granddaughters. Nova is sunshine, always smiling, always making people happy. But only one understands how my mind works. Lila understands numbers. Lila understands systems. She built a little thing on her computer that helped my store save money and never bragged. Richard never listened when I talked business. Vicky loves appearances. But Lila listens. My chest tightened. I didn't cry. I had cried enough, but tears still rolled. I remembered afternoons in the Woodstock garage, Grandpa beside me, looking at the old laptop screen, asking,
Does this tell me when I'm running low on nails before building season, Lila Bean?
On screen, Grandpa's face darkened, a rare, angry expression I only saw a few times. I also saw how they kept Lila away from me. Visits canceled last minute, calls cut off. I was told Lila was too busy with big work in Texas, that she didn't want to come because ashamed of this small-town family. Then I heard from Ruth, Lila's grandmother, that Lila drove all night from Austin, only to be turned away at the gate. That is control. That is fear that if we talked, we would compare stories and see the truth.
Mom burst into sobs. Not restrained anymore, but real sobbing, shoulders shaking, hands covering face. "No, not true," she whispered, but no one heard because Grandpa continued.
If you are watching this, it means you are contesting my decision. It means you are again trying to take what doesn't belong to you. So let me be clear. HarborEdge Analytics, every share, every related account belongs to Lila. Not because she is my favorite, but because she is the only one who can use it for its purpose. Help the little guys. Help small store owners like I was, who never had these tools to compete with Amazon, Walmart, hardware stores in Connecticut, family bakeries in Maine, farm stands in Vermont. They need this. Lila will do it. Grandpa paused, eyes glistening, not from weakness, but real emotion.
Hank, are you making this decision under pressure from anyone?
Grandpa looked straight into the lens, almost scornful. The only pressure I feel is time. I am doing this now, while competent, because I know if I wait, they will find some doctor to declare me insane and sign whatever they put in front of me. I want this on record before that happens. The screen faded to black. Video ended. No one spoke. Only Mom sobbing, Dad's heavy breathing, and the chair creak as Nova stood abruptly. She didn't scream anymore. She just looked at me. A long look, full of pain, jealousy, and for the first time, regret. Then Nova rushed out, Dior bag thudding to the floor, high heels clacking on the marble hallway. The door burst open, then slammed shut. Mom collapsed onto the table, sobbing like a child, head bowed, shoulders heaving. "Dad, Dad," she mumbled, as if Grandpa was still alive and could hear. Dad sat motionless, face pale, hands clenched white-knuckled, eyes staring blankly at the black screen. He said nothing. No defense, no anger, no pleading. Just silence. Mr. Hale closed the laptop, voice gentle but firm. This video was recorded March 14th, 2024, with signatures from Dr. Grant and a New York State notary. If contested, it will go to court, along with all bank statements, deleted emails, and HarborEdge valuation. Mr. Henry prepared thoroughly. I looked at my family, or what remained. Mom crying like never before, Dad silent as dead. Nova fled. And me, I sat straight, tears falling, but for the first time, I felt no longer invisible. Grandpa had seen me, he had chosen me, and now the world knew. Mr. Hale looked at me, eyes warm. The rest is transfer procedures. Lila, are you ready? I nodded, my voice no longer shook. I'm ready. The battle my family promised would be long and dramatic never really happened on the witness stand with tears and lawyers arguing before a jury. It ended quietly, quickly, and cruelly in closed meeting rooms and at judges' chambers in Westchester County. Right after that will reading, Dad hired a top probate lawyer in Manhattan, Mr. Evan Rosenthal, famous for overturning billionaire real estate wills. Mr. Rosenthal walked into the first meeting smiling confidently, shaking hands firmly, telling my parents, "Don't worry, these cases always have negotiation room. The old man's video will prove undue influence, late-stage Parkinson's, paranoia, easy win." But that smile vanished after the first disclosure hearing. Mr. Hale presented all evidence, Grandpa's video, medical certification from Dr. Grant, forensic accounting report from a court-appointed independent firm. The numbers lay there, cold and undeniable. $187,000 transferred for Nova's Maldives trip right after her story, Dream Vacation Loading. $68,000 for Dad's new Porsche Cayenne, labeled business expense. $24,000 for the TikTok studio Mom designed for Nova's Perfect Light GRWM videos. All from the joint account Grandpa never approved.
The judge, a stern, middle-aged woman named Judith Harlan, didn't care how many videos Nova posted hugging Grandpa, or heartfelt captions, cherishing every moment. She cared about Dad's power of attorney used to move money for unspecified personal expenditures. Transfers timed right before luxury vacations, new SUV, Nova's sponsored trips, partly paid from Grandpa's funds. She cared that when Grandpa questioned withdrawals, emails mysteriously vanished.
When Dad's lawyer argued Grandpa verbally approved everything, Mr. Hale slid the video across, Grandpa looking straight into camera saying, "When I asked, I was told I forgot. I did not forget. I am not confused." After that, no room to spin. Medical report confirmed Grandpa competent when amending will. Accounting report laid out misuse in columns that didn't care about feelings. Court validated codicil, confirmed HarborEdge Analytics, and accounts mine as intended. On top, judge ordered parents repay all taken from joint accounts, plus interest and penalties for financial exploitation of a vulnerable elder. They had no money. They lived as if Grandpa's money was endless. 6-bedroom Scarsdale house with saltwater pool and private tennis court. 2 luxury cars parked for Instagram. Country club fees, private school tuition for Nova, though she dropped out for full-time influencing. To pay debt, they sold the house. Mom once called it family legacy and holiday cards. Scarsdale real estate slow, they accepted $800,000 less than appraisal. Moving day, I heard from a familiar broker. Mom stood in an empty kitchen, looking at her hand-planted rose garden, sobbing. Dad's Porsche and Mom's Range Rover went too, auctioned to cover part of debt. Dad put on leave from logistics firm where he was CFO 15+ years, pending review. Rumors spread fast in Westchester Finance. No company wanted CFO named in public elder financial abuse records. He applied dozens jobs. Only polite, we've decided to move forward with other candidates. Nova collapsed differently. Slowly, publicly, painfully. Scandal broke overnight. Someone, likely old Rosenthal's assistant, leaked court docs to influencer drama subreddit, spread like wildfire. Old Nova posts dug up, videos hugging Grandpa, radiant smile captioned, "My hero forever," while he sometimes looked off camera awkwardly. Anonymous TikTok account edited clips with Grandpa's video line, "I saw them push Nova in front of me with cameras." Video hit 8 million views first week. First big brand drop, Glossier. Short email, due to recent developments, pausing partnership. Then Away, Summer Fridays, Sephora. Followers, once 1.2 million, dropped steadily, then plummeted. Old post comments shifted from hearts to, "Money from Grandpa's account though? Exploitation much? Where's apology video?" Nova posted tearful video, red eyes, no makeup, shaky voice about misunderstandings and online hate. But no luxury trips, no hauls, algorithm abandoned her. Channel died slowly. They left Scarsdale quietly. I heard from Mom's old friend they rented 2-bedroom apartment in Tampa suburb. Cheap rent, few knew them. Dad, freelance accounting, small businesses, fraction former salary. Mom stayed home, rarely posted. No charity galas, no country club, no thick, glossy Christmas cards with embossing. They never called me. No texts, emails, apologies. I didn't call either. First time, silence between us was my choice, not forced. I did opposite. I signed HarborEdge transfer papers in different meeting room, bright, modern, downtown Austin. Mr. Hale slid final stack. Once you sign, they have no legal claim to HarborEdge or its assets. My hand shook slightly. not doubt, but the weight of cutting last invisible cord. I signed. First time, their disappointment couldn't cost me money or freedom. I moved to Austin permanently. Modest apartment near HarborEdge office. Now real sign, real logo, growing team. Grandma Ruth, only old family member still speaking to me, refused stay Scarsdale house during sale/gutting. She packed life into 2 suitcases, photo album atop my cable and old notebook boxes. She left expensive furniture, took only framed photo her and Grandpa's store opening day. My parents vanished from social media and Scarsdale high society. Through distant relatives and stray posts, I heard they lived quietly Florida. Cheap rental, old car. No Europe trips, no parties, just silence. And I chose that silence, not from hate, but because finally I had the right to choose. 4 years after that fateful will reading, if you walked into HarborEdge Analytics headquarters downtown Austin, you'd never guess it started from a beat-up laptop and a will promise nearly buried. We now have real glass doors, laser-etched logo on wall, team of 60, engineers, data analysts, support staff, working all day building tools for people more like my grandpa than my parents' country club friends. HarborEdge platform helps thousands small businesses across America. Midwest hardware stores track exactly when to order more nails before building season. Oregon family bakeries forecast ingredients before Thanksgiving using weather data. Central Texas small farms know exact fertilizer for crop without waste. When Gulf Coast storm hits, HarborEdge auto alerts coastal stores. Order additional 210 kilowatt diesel generators within 48 hours. Demand forecast up 340%. When Vermont Bakery wants to know which cupcake truly profitable, not just cute on Instagram, our dashboard answers plain language. Stop red velvet. Ingredient cost 18% higher than revenue. Every client calls saying, "We didn't go under this quarter thanks to your software." I hear Grandpa Hank's voice. "Help the little guys, Lila Bean." We host free workshops twice monthly. Invite local business owners, treat Texas barbecue pizza. Sit with them, review books, explain numbers, way no big bank ever did. I established Henry Whitaker Scholarship for working-class family STEM students. Kids growing up in parents' hardware stores or bakeries, dreaming code, but no money for decent laptop. Each year, dozens scholarships and refurbished laptops. Not outdated junk, good specs, fast boot, enough run Python and basic machine learning. I live small craftsman house, Travis Heights. 10-minute bike to office. No saltwater pool, no tennis court, but wide porch, ancient pecan tree, and Grandma Ruth Whitaker. Only old family who chose me. Ruth refused stay Scarsdale during house sale. She packed life 2 suitcases, 1 carton, flew Austin with me. Left Italian leather sofa, walnut dining table, took only old photo album, framed wood photo, her and Grandpa first store opening 1978, Grandpa's Woodstock rocking chair. She claimed sunniest living room corner, hers, rocking chair, knitting, fresh garden flowers. Every evening porch, takeaway tacos or brisket, watch Austin's city lights blink. She tells Grandpa young stories, when he was a boy stocking shelves grocery, dreaming his own store. Sometimes silent. Just crickets, Texas night wind. Comfortable silence only someone seen you lowest brings. Nova reached out exactly 2 years later. Started long email, sat my inbox weeks before I dared open. She didn't ask money, shout out, fix old scandal. Just wrote new life. Followers crashed, big contracts gone. Now works small Tampa marketing agency. No one cares past likes, only deadlines met. She started volunteering community center, teaching teen girls basic video, but also teach read contracts, calculate real lifestyle costs they see online, not sell life for sponsored trip. She admitted jealous me long time. Jealous Grandpa looked at me way never her. Jealous I had something real, while she only filters hashtags. No excuses, just, I'm sorry. I let Mom and Dad turn me into someone I didn't want to be. I called back. Conversation awkward. Long pauses. Forced laughs. We didn't suddenly become close Netflix sisters. No tearful hugs, weekend meat promises. But we talked, really talked, not through influencer and invisible sister lens. About work, Grandma Ruth, Nova taking evening digital ethics community college, her deleting half old channel, keeping only truly fun no sponsor videos. Not close yet, but door cracked open, no longer bolted.
Parents never called.
Through Grandma Ruth's distant relatives, I heard scraps. Dad, basic bookkeeping, small firms, Tampa. Modest salary, no executive title, brag. Mom, home, Whoopsley, rarely posts. Glamorous life replaced IKEA furniture, instant coffee. They became couple people whisper about old Scarsdale. Remember Kensington's? Heard they're struggling now. Ruth sometimes sighs hearing news, never tells me call, just says, they chose their path, honey. Now you choose yours. And I did. I chose Build HarborEdge Place. Small store owners, like Grandpa wants, have fighting chance without lying, manipulating anyone. Chose Live with Ruth. Late-night pizza workshops, scholarships, kids once told coding not real future. Chose Leave Door Cracked Nova. Even small gap. Chose no longer beg recognition from people who decided never see me. People say success is sweetest revenge. Maybe right, but sitting Austin porch with Ruth, watching Texas stars, her telling Grandpa young stocking shelves grocery, I realized something bigger. Real revenge, not money, not glass building TechCrunch articles. Revenge, knowing part parents saw useless, girl coding alone, dark room, was part built life they no longer touch. Revenge, multiplying faith. One old man placed me, turning jobs, scholarships, second chances, people from families like mine. Revenge, finally living without permission. First time I told whole story, strangers, was TED Stage, New York, under warm red circle light. TED logo glowing behind hundreds eyes looking up. I wore simple black blazer, bought Austin. Hair low ponytail, hand holding clicker, slight tremble. Deep breath. Started exactly how it started for me. At my grandfather's will reading, my parents gave my sister $15 million and told me, earn my own. They said Grandpa wanted nothing for me. They were wrong. Audience laughed right places, dead quiet, heavy ones as I continued. Didn't tell every messy detail, unnecessary, but enough understand how family decided I weird one, difficult one didn't fit picture wanted post. How Grandpa quietly bet everything, part they tried erase. How greed and manipulation nearly buried bet forever. Told about HarborEdge. Small stores now using tools. Bakery owner Vermont cried Zoom, thought lose mother's bakery. Then didn't. Thanks accurate forecast, ingredients, revenue. Showed simple slide. Grandpa's shaky handwriting codicil. Helped the little guys. Felt chest loosened, held tight years. When finished, applause rose like wave, not for drama, revenge, but recognized something familiar. People once Lila er families, overlooked, sidelined, told passions, dreams, or themselves useless. After talk, back temporary Manhattan apartment, removed blazer heels, sat bed edge, only Grandpa item carry everywhere, his old wristwatch. Leather strap cracked, face scratched, decades wearing fixing pipes, mowing lawns, store inventory. But pop back open, tiny photo me, 17, next first hackathon project, frizzy hair, idiot grin. Around metal rim, he had engraved one sentence. They never saw it, but I always believed. Thumb ran over words until blurred tears. Long time since I cried, not pain, relief. Long thought only win make parents swallow doubts, force admit wrong me. But somewhere between courtroom, TED Stage, realized not point. point. Stop auditioning people already. Decided not to choose you. Point taken. Love, belief, one old man gave me. Multiply. Turn jobs, scholarships, second chances, people, families like mine.
If any lesson this.
Being unwanted child doesn't mean unworthy. Usually just means people around too afraid or too small handle who you really are.
Don't have stayrooms your value debated. Allowed build new rooms. With people don't need convincing you matter. And if ever Lila, your family, overlooked, blamed, cut out, hope remember this more money scandal. One person believing you right, time change everything.
Open finding that person. And when can be that person someone else?
Turned off light, placed watch bedside table. Outside Manhattan window, city still lit, but this time no longer felt lost. I had my own broom, and it was bigger than any Scarsdale house my parents ever had.